last 10 days, we have seen the issue, politics of insults, take center stage in discussions as we ready for the December polls. The president, Nana Akufo-Addo, has chided his political opponent, former President Mahama, for tagging him and his kinsmen as Achim Sakawa boys via a Facebook post. He raised this concern when he met the Catholic Bishops' Conference last Friday at the Jubilee House.
Come out. People would comment on that. The comment made by my opponent, Achim Sakawa people. I've not heard any public figure in this country, independent, yourselves or anybody, comment on it. It's completely unacceptable. If I was to get up to make a comment about Northerners or Gonjas, you can imagine the uproar that would be in the country. Presidential candidate, a former president of Ghana, you can call a group of Ghanaians Sakawa people, and it involves the group for which the sitting president comes, and that comment goes without, that statement goes without comment. And at the same time, we hear these statements. Let's all try and bring the politics of insults to an end, etc., etc. The occasions are given where specific comments can be made. Nothing happens. And then it's lost. It's lost in the generalities. We need to focus on this matter in an even-handed way.
Now, 2 days later, the former president, John Dramani Mahama, in wrapping up his tour of the Upper West region, was asked for his response to the president's reaction in an interview on Weasel TV.
I can understand President Akufo-Addo's frustration, desperation, and deliberate attempt to shape up ethnic sentiments in this particular case. But I don't think it will wash. I've advocated a campaign of issues, and that is what I'm focusing on as I engage and interact with people on my tour of this country. It is important for me to point out that no one has described his ethnic group or any other ethnic group in the manner in which the president mounts this complaint. What I remember is I shared a post of one of our very fine and brilliant MPs for Bolgatanga Central, that is Honorable Isaac Andogo. And in that post, Adongo describes certain people in Akufo-Addo's government. You know he has a lot of members of his family and friends in his government. So Isaac Adongo described those behind a certain shady and untidy deal in the government in a particular manner. Yes. I'll be the last person to disparage any tribe or ethnic group.
As we have it today, we've seen a demonstration in Asamankese by a group asking the former president to apologize. Another group, called the Progressive Achim Citizens, is also calling on the Achimine youth to stop partisan attacks on John Mahama. Now, the premise of this latest back and forth is the Agyapa royalties deal. The government argues this special purpose vehicle created by the Middle Income and Investment Fund is to leverage our mineral royalties for funds to invest in infrastructure projects. The NDC and the minority in parliament opposed the deal on the following grounds. One, the SPV has been set up and registered in a known tax haven, that is Jersey Channel Islands. Also, the involvement of politically exposed persons, Gabi Asariochedakun, whose law firm handled the agreement in collaboration with a foreign partner, Kofi Osafo-Mafo, son of Senior Minister Yaw Osafo-Mafo, and Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, owner of Data Bank, the company which is also connected to the deal. The civil society organizations also raised concerns about transparency in the creation of the special purpose vehicle Agyapa Royalties Limited, how it was registered, the valuation of Ghana's gold mines to quantify the 49% shares to be floated on the London and Ghana stock exchanges, plus the stability clauses in the deal, which bar executive and judicial scrutiny and further interrogation. At the CSO's first press conference, they described the deal as akin to elite capture. Now, elite capture is a phenomenon where resources are transferred for the benefit of the masses, arrogated by a few, usually politically or economically powerful groups, at the expense of the less economically or politically influential groups. Government has responded to these reasons, denying elite capture and justifying the deal, saying the deal is in the nation's best interest. Despite the ongoing engagements of the CSOs with the finance ministry, the civil society groups this week at a news conference maintained their stance that the deal in its current form must be suspended until full clarity is given and the best structure is agreed on by the nation to serve our best interest. With the root cause of this latest spectacle clearly identified, let's tackle the issue. Politics of insult. Amofori 2015 defines insult as a behavior or discourse, oral or written, direct or indirect, gestural or non-gestural, which is perceived, experienced, constructed, and most of the time intended as slighting, humiliating, or offensive, which has the potential of psychologically affecting not only the addressee or target, but his or her associate. In Ghana, our culture has an interesting perspective on the craft of insults. For an ethnographic example in the Akan culture, let's look at the ritual on the birth of a child initiated into the social-cultural rules and norms of communication of the society. On the 8th day after a child is born, the child is taken outdoors for a performance of a naming ceremony. During the ceremony, the child's tongue is initiated into the moral values of speaking, and that's according to Yanka 95:46. 3 drops of water and liquor are dropped onto the tongue of the child. This initiates the child into the essence of truthful and discreet speech, the need for care, truth, firmness, and social sensitivities in the exercise of the spoken word. The child is also supported to demonstrate sensitivities to the vagaries of social experience and the need to comply with the cultural rules of communication. But some communities find a place for insults for good reasons. The Kundum Festival of the Nzimas creates a platform for the people to openly criticize the deeds of their rulers and elders in songs and poems. The idea behind this is to critically examine and assess performances of the rulers for the general good and the aspiration of the people. This festival exhibits the principle of leadership, the uses and abuses of power and relationship between the ruler and the ruled. These are often evoked in applying the criteria of good governance. Though this festival also empowers the powerless, it's also for a specific, limited period of time. In terms of the non-occasional insults, there is the Halo festival of the Anlo Ebbers in the Volta region of Ghana. Legend has it that rival villages in the past settled their differences annually through the use of poetic invectives. There's also the verbal game called Anyansine. This game is normally played among ethnic groups or participants with mutual historical relationship or affiliation. Reference Agyapa 2010. A typical example is an abusive game that exists between Nzimas and Asantes in Ghana. When they meet one another, they literally engage in insults and counter-insults, and this is done irrespective of the social status or differences, be it age, sex, or rank of the participants. There is a similar verbal abuse game between the Gonjas of northern Ghana and the Kasines of the Upper East region of Ghana. Another exists between Frafra and the Agati of the Upper East and the Upper West regions of Ghana, respectively. Verbal insults, according to Sechibuede 2008, are invectives used among people of equality and intimacy, that is, among friends or colleagues such as politicians, professors, directors of firms and agencies, headmasters, drivers, traders, soldiers, soccer players, and even doctors. Some types of insults are acceptable within these social networks. The insult is seen as one of many things that bind them together. It's become part of their day-to-day interactions, and its absence is seen as not normal. This is because members have consented to insult and be insulted. The main purpose of these insults within the groups is to maintain social cohesion and group identity. Now, the rules of engagement in the use of insults among members are tacitly known to all of them. If someone contravenes the rules or applies them to a non-group member, the appropriate sanctions are applied. Now, that is to say, the insult is meant to be used among group members and cannot be extended beyond the borders of the group. With this historical and cultural foundation laid, there's also the reality of insults, which has become a profound feature of our body politic. The birth of the Fourth Republic came with the return to free speech after years of military rule. Veteran journalist Abdul Malik Kubako is quoted to have said, "I prefer ugly noises to the culture of silence," as an endorsement of the liberalization of the media and the democratic space. However, this also birthed the culture of political actors criticizing and insulting leaders. The repeal of the criminal law the criminal libel law in 2001 by the Kufuor administration and led by the then Attorney General and now President Nana Akufo-Addo led to increased media pluralism and many more avenues for politically active persons to engage national conversations. And with the freedom came the culture of politicians using intemperate language to run down their political opponents and enhance their public outlook to ultimately win political power. Monitoring reports authored by the Media Foundation for West Africa of political discussions on radio and TV stations show clearly the increasing use of intemperate language by the political parties, especially the NDC and the MPP. The Kali Bishops Conference, who listened to the concerns about the policy of insults by the president, which you just saw, had some solutions to share about how to deal with this culture. When I spoke to the Secretary General of the Kali Bishops Conference early this week, Reverend Father Lazarus Anondi, on Monday on Star FM's morning show, Morning Star, this is what he had to say. I think that both parties are guilty of it. It's not just the candidates, it's the parties. You don't need to vilify anybody in order to win votes. You rather have to win the other person with superior arguments. That is what we need in Ghana. Everybody's contribution matters, so we should respect each other. There must be genuine respect when we are playing politics. I think this problem persists because somehow we reward people who practice the politics of insult. If we begin to rubbish these people who use the foul language, people will sit up. They are not the type of people we need in public office. The words of Reverend Anondi. Now, the effects of politics of insults are in threefold. One, it limits constructive engagement. Second, it serves as censorship to some people who ordinarily would have been vocal and critical on national issues. And then lastly, it devalues the political process as it stokes tension and violence instead of proper scrutiny of political messages. So, to deal with the politics of insult, all Ghanaians must honestly tonight answer these 5 questions. Do you laugh when you hear someone being insulted and get angry when the same insult is hurled at you? What do we gain by insulting each other in person or via social media? Are we pretending we hate the politics of insult when we covertly endorse, sponsor, and benefit from it? Has this culture helped to unite us or rather divide us? Do we all really want this phenomenon, the politics of insult, to stop, or we want it minimized? While I allow you to ponder on these questions, it's quite clear that the same political parties and leaders who have been victims and beneficiaries of this practice must show leadership in ending this practice. This year's pandemic, COVID-19, has shown us that we can make time to wash our hands, sanitize our hands, cover our mouth, and be safe. Our political leaders must apply the same principle to their speech and stop using insults, name-calling, and name-tagging to win political arguments. If we ask Nana Akufo-Addo and John Mahama to bring us their list of name-tagging and insults hurled at them by their political opponents, we'll have quite a dossier to interrogate. We roundly condemn the politics of insult, name-calling, and ethnic tagging. Former President Mahama should publicly withdraw this statement and condemn insults hurled at President Akufo-Addo and the MPP to show leadership. You promised a campaign devoid of insults, so please honor your promise. Do so by demanding of your party leadership that any member of your party who breaks this promise you have made to the Ghanaian people be punished. President Akufo-Addo must also publicly condemn the comments made by MPP members against Mr. Mahama and the NDC, which are akin to name-calling and tribal tagging, and commit to a campaign devoid of insults. Demand of your party leadership that any member of your party who breaks this promise you will have made to the Ghanaian people be punished. Mr. President, we also ask that you address the nation on the Agyapa deal. The comments made by Isaac Adongo and shared by John Mahama, which has erupted this storm, stems from this particular mineral royalties investment deal. Just as you have done in the past, made time to address the nation to provide clarity on matters and some controversial like the U.S. military agreement, the Ghanaian people deserve to hear you speak directly to the merits of the Agyapa deal and the issues raised by the CSOs and the minority on this matter. If anyone can lead this country to stop the politics of insults, it's you, Mr. President Nana Akufo-Addo, and you, former President John Mahama. Our youth deserve a fresh start to contemporary political culture of issue-based debates, which will sharpen the decisions we make and ultimately develop the country. To my colleagues in the media, we must also do more in our gatekeeping role in moderating discussions to focus more on the issues and less on the emotional outbursts. Finally, Ghanaians, you must also give up the appetite for vitriolic debates and condemn the glorification of political insults. If you will not entertain these same insults thrown at you, don't endorse it when the same is done to someone else. And this is our Election Hub editorial on the politics of insults.
EIB Election Hub. Credible, compelling, and comprehensive election coverage on TV, radio, and online.